Well, hello. I'm glad you could join us today for Season 3, Episode 7 of The Salem Painter. You know, it's starting to turn fall here where I'm filming the episode. Probably won't air until winter sometime, but it's fall right now, so I'm wearing my Freddy Krueger shirt. And I think tonight we're going to do a nice fall scene. Something that makes us happy. You know, a lot of times people think of fall as gray time of year, but the leaves are colorful. But you know, to me, when I think of fall, I think of really bright blue skies, clear skies. You can really see the stars the best during the fall. That's why it's one of my favorite times of the year. The only thing I hate about fall is I know it's going to be winter soon, and then it's going to be cold. I don't like the cold. All right, now I'm going to go down to my palette here, and still got that liquid white on the brush. Just get a little bit of phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is a lot lighter than the Prussian blue, so it's good for making like bright blue skies. So I'm going to start up here in the top corner. And you just want to start at the top, go down and use these X strokes just like this. This is how it looks in slow motion. Just back and forth. And as you go down, it's going to mix with the liquid white, and it's automatically going to get lighter. Which, by the way, that's what I was doing when the show came on. I was coating the canvas with the thin, even coat of liquid white, and I do that for every painting. And you know, if it's your first time seeing the show, you haven't heard me say that before, so I always repeat it a lot so people can hear it, because it's very important to know what that is. You know, I think I'm gonna go down and get a little bit of alizarin crimson. We're just gonna put some of that into our sky right in the middle. It looks like a big mess right now, but I'm gonna blend it in with the blue that we had. It's a very nice violet color. Mixes very nicely with the blue that's there. Kind of like almost like a smoky haze. You know, a lot of people have fires in the fall, burning leaves, things like that. And the more we blend it, the more it just looks like part of the sky instead of just a big purple blob. And just keep using those X strokes I was talking about, down and up, down and up. You don't have to blend all this until it's perfect. In fact, you want to leave some of it going all over the place, kind of look like there's a little movement, a little action in the sky. All right, I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. So I think next I'm gonna go down to the bottom and just come make some strokes going from the outside in, leaving the middle white, because I'm gonna have some water in this painting. And so hopefully that little area in the middle will end up looking like a sheen going across the water. If you need to, you can put more paint on the canvas and just come out from the sides, going towards the middle. Or you can come back and blend your sky some more. Pick up some of that color off the brush and rub it down here. That works too. Just depends on how dark you want the color. It's all up to you. This is all about how you picture it. You can sit here and take the time to make your painting look just like a photograph or however you imagine it should look. It's up to you. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit more color here because get some more of that color down at the bottom. And you want to keep these places going across basically straight, or it'll look like the water is just going to run off your canvas. You don't want it all tilted to the side. All right, now that we got that done, I think we're going to go down the palette and going to get a little bit of the crimson, maybe a little bit of the blue, and some black, and just make a dark color here. We're going to make a mountain in this picture, so this is going to be the underpainting of the mountain, and we'll probably use it for a lot of other things in this painting. Maybe underpainting of bushes. Anywhere there's going to be dark shadows, we're going to use this color. All right, I'll wipe my palette knife off on the paper towel, and I'm just going to take my palette knife and get a little cut of that on there. All right, we're going to come back up and decide where we want our mountain to live in this painting. I think I want several mountains, but the first one is going to live right here. Just decide where it goes. Put it there. That's simple. We don't have to worry too much about how this looks right now. We just want to make sure that that we got a good outside edge to our mountain. Okay, there's another little mountain right here. You know what the heck? We're gonna make a whole range of mountains, just all the way across here. And just like with the other ones, we're just worried about the outside edge, not the entire mountain. We're going to scrape off the excess paint in the middle. Just scrape it right off the canvas. All right, next I'm going to clean off my 2-inch brush. I still had the color in it from where I was blending the sky. And I do that by rubbing it around on a screen inside a can of paint thinner or mineral spirits. And then I just beat the bristles off into a garbage can. And finally, wipe it off on a paper towel. All right, once it's mostly dry, I'm going to go ahead and just drag that color down. And this is where you can decide which mountain's on top and which ones are in the background. You just drag them right over the other mountains. You'll mostly want to leave these edges undisturbed. Leave them like they are, that way you still have your defined edges against the sky. And I think this mountain's going to be out in front, so I'll go ahead and pull him back over that mountain. We're not locked into this decision. We can change it at any time. If I wanted this mountain on top, I could go back and just pull him back over. Just like that. Now that mountain's on top again. But I want this one to be on top in my painting. So that's what we're going to do. Just laying out our basic shapes. We're pulling in basically the direction the mountain's going to go. All right, now we're going to go back down to our palette. I'm going to wipe off my palette knife. I still got color on it from where I used it last. And we just do that with a paper towel. That's all it takes. Just wipe it off. All right, and now that that's done, I'm going to go into my white and just pull it out really thin. Actually, I'm going to take some and lay it off to the side because I want this to be a little bit different color. I'm going to get a little bit of the red and just mix it in a tiny amount. We don't want a lot of this, just enough to give it like a orange kind of glow. See, I want a little bit more white with that. Too much orange glow. A little bit more. All right, just mix it up. And you don't want to mix it all the way. You want to leave it kind of marbled. And we're just going to take a little cut of that and bring it up, and we'll just come down the mountain with it. See, this orange is going to end up looking like light reflecting off the snow. I want this to be very bright, sparkly. I want it to really stand out. You know, mountains are one of my favorite things to paint. This is why. Vibrant colors. They really draw your eye into the painting. And when I'm putting this snow with the light reflecting off of it on the mountain, I'm using a really light touch. I'm just letting the paint break as I go down. If you're having trouble getting it to break, just kind of vibrate your brush, your knife a little bit. You know, just shake it around. Have a unsteady hand. It can actually work for you in this method of painting. You don't have to be able to draw perfect lines. All right, we're going to do the same over here. Just drag it down a little bit to the edge of the mountain. We don't want to go over our other mountain. And if we do, we can always go back and fix it. But maybe another little projection right here. You decide where these should go. And now we're going to go back and we're going to go back down to the palette and make a separate pile of color with some white. Maybe a little bit of that orange still in there, but we're going to mix blue in with it. And maybe even a little black. A little touch there. Darken it up. And just the same as we did with the other one, we're going to leave it marbled. We're just going to cut off a little thin roll of it. And we're going to do this in the opposite direction. We're going to make some shadows. Every highlight you hear is a place where light hits, and every highlight has to have a shadow. Every little ridge. So we're just going to come down the opposite direction. And as you can see, we're getting all kinds of little colors and different variations happening in here because we left our paint marbled. And that's what you want. That's what's going to make your painting look interesting. And you know, there's going to be a lot of places where the color underneath is going to show through. And that's good. You want that. That dark undercolor we did. Some of the shadows here may be even darker than that undercolor. You know, you got a little projection on the mountain sticking out here. Maybe it's going to be darker because it's in the shade. And just wherever you imagine there's a little projection, go ahead and put another one in. Put another shadow. Even in the middle of these, some places, just wherever you think there should be one, just put one. All right. Yeah, I painted a picture of some mountains in the desert a few weeks ago, and it was really nice to be up close to actually get to see the mountain in person while I was painting it. It really made the mountain painting a lot better. Gotta have some inspiration, I guess. I think that experience totally changed the way that I paint mountains. Definitely makes me want to put a little more detail into it when I do. That's for sure. All right, just dragging a little bit of that color on here. And if you think you would have a highlight, pick up a little highlight, put it out here. Maybe there's another little projection that comes up right there. Comes all the way down through here. Another little piece of the mountain. And we'll give it a shadow. There we go. Well, we can't forget this mountain way back here in the back. Let's give him a shadow too. You know, he's further back, so there won't be as much detail. But it's still very important we put his shadow in. If you don't, people are going to notice. More shadow color up here. And maybe I want to define this edge a little bit, so I'll come along and just pull the shadows down from there. All right. Now that we're done with that, I'm going to go ahead and just clean off my brush a little bit. All right. And once again, we're going to wipe it off. Get all the paint off of it. Okay, now that we're done with the mountain, we're going to come tap along the bottom of these. Just tap like we're trying to destroy them. See, maybe you can see that a little bit better from that angle. Just tap, 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 tap. And as you can see, I'm holding onto the easel because I'm tapping this very hard. I'm just destroying everything I put down here. And then we're just gonna kind of bring it up in the direction that the mountain comes, because we're making a fog here. Just follow the lay of the land, the way these mountains go. And then we're just gonna kind of blend it out side to side very lightly until it just looks like these mountains are just floating in the air. If they look like they're floating there, then you know you did it right. All right. I think next we're going to take some of that mountain color that I made and just kind of make some foothills going along. We're just going to dab some of that color on. You can decide which way the foothills run. They don't have to run the same way as the mountains. These are miles and miles in front of these mountains. And then we're going to come back and just kind of pull straight up on them in some places. Kind of make them look like trees really far off in the distance. And you want to pull these pretty much straight up, because if you don't, it's going to look like you got some wind coming through here at hundreds of miles an hour, blowing them all over. Make them higher in some places, lower in some places. And then just kind of tap along the bottom of them. And making some mist down here. Maybe even that little white end, tap it along. Do that again. Get some more. And maybe a little bit more down here, finish that up. And then I'm just gonna get some more paint, that same color. I'm gonna go back and put it in here, make another little line of foothills in front of that one. But this one's a lot closer. And I'll do the same thing again, go back and pull it up. Basically straight up. You don't want to have them blowing off to the side. And you see where you tap this little mist area in, that puts a little bit of fog between these, makes it look like it's really far off in the distance. So you want to leave some of that showing. You don't want to drag all of your trees over the top of it, maybe some of them. And now it's time to get to the foreground. This time, I'm going to put some more of that same color in. Using a lot of that color today. Usually I like to pick a couple of colors and just stick with those. It helps make your painting look like it belongs together. It's kind of like you got a theme going. And let's see, maybe a little more back in here. Maybe this is a big hill. All right. And I'm going to go back in, get some of that same color. Using this for everything. And there we go. Go down to the palette. Just wave your fan brush through it. Kind of wiggle it, load it up with paint. And we're going to go back up to the canvas and we're going to decide where we want some trees. Normally I cover up the mountains with the trees, but today I want these to be the focus. So we're just gonna kind of put the trees out on the side. Just kind of put them in there wherever we think they should go. Whenever we start running out of color on the brush, we just go load a little bit more onto it. Maybe another little tree here that goes off the side of the canvas. I like those little trees like that go off the side. All right, maybe a big one right here. You just tap and take the corner of your fan brush and just bend it down as you go down the painting, further as you go down. My fan brush is getting kind of old. I'm going to have to go buy a new one soon. It doesn't make it easy for me like it used to. All right. And let's see, I think I'm going to go ahead and just fill in some more of this with that color. Just maybe these trees are here in the foreground. And I'm gonna go down and get my 2-inch brush loaded up with paint. And just go through the paint over and over and over again until you've got a chiseled edge like this, you know, really sharp edge. We're gonna come back up to the canvas and we're gonna make another big tree right here, right there. Just tap, just like you would with the fan brush, and just come down using the corner of the brush. We're gonna make another big tree using the 2-inch brush. You can do entire paintings only using the 2-inch brush if you wanted, and it'll look just as good. In fact, that looks kind of nice. It kind of looks more bushy, different kind of tree. All right. Now next we're going to clean the brush off because I'm about to use this to make some reflections. So once again, I just rub it on the screen, rub the excess paint off, and then I beat all the paint off the bristles and wipe it off. Of course, there was so much paint this time, I'm going to have to do this maybe 2 or 3 times to get all the paint off of it, but that's okay. Got it all over my hands too. Every time I do the show, I'll walk around with hands like this for a few days. Because this will not come off with just soap and water. It takes some time. It's got to wear off a little bit. I don't mind though. It causes people to ask questions, so it gives me an excuse to tell them about the show. So much blue paint. That's the only bad thing about loading your brush up like that to do trees, is that it's hard to clean it out. But that's close enough, because we're about to drag some of that down into the water anyway, so. We're just going to drag it straight down. Just like that. And then just kind of go side to side and make it look watery after you get these in. It can be kind of hard down at the bottom when you're right by the edge of the canvas here, but blend it in. And you see you got a little bit of a darker shadow over there where you got trees. That's all we really need. And I'm going to get the last of that paint and just make a little projection of land coming out here. All right. Now the next thing we're going to decide is where we want highlights. We've used this really dark color and we've got it all over the whole canvas. So now we're going to come back and decide what colors we're going to put in. So I'm going to take a little bit of the cadmium yellow, and it's going to mix slightly with that color to make a bright, bright green color. And we'll just start putting some highlights in on these trees, wherever we think the light would strike. you know, they're still really dark because a lot of these are in the shade, like here. Oop, picked up a little bit of the yellow color. That's nice, makes it really bright in a few places. Make it sparkle. But when you're putting your highlights on these trees, you want to make sure that you leave some of the dark areas. Maybe some different colors. Maybe here, a little yellow ochre. Maybe the light's striking a little bit brighter there. Or maybe even a few taller bushes, you know, that look like some small trees growing out here. Some trees that aren't evergreen trees. And just like I was talking about with the other side, you want to leave some of your dark areas. Ooh, that's a nice green color. And I haven't even used any of my green. That's just the yellow mixing with the blue. Maybe I'll pick up a little yellow ochre, change it up a little bit here. See, when I'm making these bushes, I'm doing like one bush at a time. You don't want to go overboard with one color. You're going to change it up. But also, you want to do each of these bushes individually. Let's see, maybe a little more yellow. Maybe a lot of light hidden right here. Generally, as you get closer to you in the painting, you want to leave a lot more darker areas for the shadow to show through. And let's see, another little bushy tree here. All right, and I'm going to go back and get my fan brush, run through some of that yellow ochre and then the green we've mixed together, and put some highlights on these trees up here. These are over towards our source of light, which is the sun. And we know where the source of light is because of where the light hits on the mountains. So, definitely want to get some more color in there. A bit more there. You're going to get more light higher up. As you come down the trees, you want this to kind of get darker. That'll help them look right to you when you look at this painting. All right. Now we're gonna go back down to the palette, mix together a little black, a little bit of crimson, a bit of green, very dark color. And we're gonna just make some land down here for all these trees and bushes and stuff to sit on. Just kind of put it in there. This you can press a little harder if you want. You can do it almost like icing a cake. going to come back and put some highlights on it in a minute, and we'll need to use a light touch, but this you can do however you want to. Whatever gets the paint onto the canvas. All right, I'm going to start putting a little bit of this color onto the canvas. Just using my knife. You don't have to use a very light touch to do this. It's not like putting the highlights on the mountain. You could put this on just like icing a cake. And you know, you don't want to have these go straight down. You want to pull them out to the side, really long, just long strokes to the side. You don't want this to look like it's a cliff falling into the water. You want it to look like it's a little bank. All right, and we're going to cover up this part that comes down with a little bit more of the bush color. And now we're gonna go back and we're gonna take some of that same color we made for the bank and mix a little white in with it. Make a grayish color. So we want this kind of look like rocks. And we're gonna take a little cut of that color and just start highlighting this, just dragging down. And this we are doing with a light touch because we want the canvas to just take what it wants, kind of like when we were putting the snow on the mountain. Very light touch, just. And we'll go the same direction that we pulled it when we were putting it on there. All right, and got some nice sparkly highlights on there. Now I'm just gonna take my fan brush, a little bit of the bush color, and just kind of come along and put some grasses and things going down onto the bank, so it looks like it's part of the painting. We don't want to just have a line across here where we put in that stuff. Just kind of tap wherever you want it. And you know, I think I want a couple of really bright red bushes out here to make it look more like a fall scene. Maybe there's one there. Maybe one out here. You know, just wherever we want these. Big bright one right there. A light hitting the top. Yeah, it's looking more fall already, just by adding a couple of them. But we're gonna add a lot, because this is a fall painting. A lot of orange, reds, all sorts of colors. There we go. That's much better. And we'll see. I think next we need to go back and finish what we were working on before I forget to do it. I'm going to go down and get a little bit of my liquid white and put it on the palette. Just put it out in a thin line. I'm just going to get a little cut of it and come back up and start putting some water lines in here. We'll just do straight lines. Every time you're doing anything that deals with the water, you know, water lines, pulling the paint across, you want to make sure it's in a straight line. A little bit right there. A little bit there, a little bit there. All right. I'm going to come back and put in a little more color there. Maybe something like that. And I'm gonna go back and get some of the white mixed with a little black and stuff to make it gray, and just kind of put some tree trunks in some of these trees wherever I think they might go. You're not gonna see these in all the trees, but maybe a little bit here and there, just wherever. And come back and bring those into the painting, covering up a little bit of them. All right, now I'm gonna take my palette knife and just use the very edge of it, and I'm gonna scrape in some branches here and there. So let's go back and do that. A lot of them you'll want here in these little shadows, but you know, just all over the painting. Don't overdo it. You don't want it to look like you scratched it to death, but it can be very effective to have these in the right places. Let's see. Especially in these paintings that have a lot of trees in them. And I'm going to step back for a second and take a look at this. And I'm pretty happy with what we got here, so I'm going to just do a few more details here and there. And then I think I'll call this a finished painting. I'm going to blend out some of this water a little better here. Had to break up the bristles there. These were a little bit dried out. I haven't used this paintbrush today. Oh, this one's been a very fun painting today. Lots of bright colors. And I actually painted this one with someone in mind, someone who wanted a scene like this. So hopefully they'll like it too. And as always, you can see all the episodes of our show on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/theSalemPainter. We have a Facebook, that's facebook.com/theSalemPainter. And you can always email me at theSalemPainter@gmail.com, and I'll respond quickest that way, because I usually get an instant notification about that. So that's probably the best way to reach me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.